Hello and welcome to Finextra. I'm Hannah Wallace and we're here today in Stockholm for NextGen Banking Nordics. Joining me is Ilkka Korkiakoski and Petri Syvänne from Tieto, and we're talking about PSD2 and transaction banking. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Petri, let's come to you first. You've mentioned in the past, in the context of PSD2, about corporate banking and especially liquidity management. Can you expand on this?
Now we have been talking about PSD2 for the past 2 years, and finally it starts to become a reality. And we have seen that the banks opening it up to open banking, and we are mainly focused now on the dialogues on the consumer side. However, there are some interesting services also appearing on the corporate side, mainly being liquidity management services and payment analytics. So I will talk a little bit more about those two. Firstly, if we talk about liquidity management products, the basic setup is that you get the account details and you get the transaction details from the other banks, and then you add those to your own corporate portal in the bank and give an overall view of the corporate liquidity. Or then you can do that bank independent as a third-party provider. However, if you think about that, what are these next phase or next level liquidity management services, how do you utilize that information? Well, then you incorporate it into advanced pooling solutions like virtual account management, for example, and then you start to get like really fancy second generation cash pooling solutions. And secondly, there are these new level of analytic services. What we can do is that we analyze the payment data. And if we have the payment data from one corporate, and now we have a chance to have it from the other banks also, and we can create a map of the payment network of that one client. But as a bank, you can also do that for several corporates and create a larger network of your corporates and how they interact with each other. And then you can pinpoint from the bank's risk management point of view, is there some critical companies in the network? So you can use this for your bank's risk management and for example credit decisions, when you can analyze the full network of companies interlinked and not only one company based on the annual reports or the account statements.
And you've introduced there virtual account management. Can you tell me a bit more?
As a part of corporate liquidity management, that's like a next step of cash pooling. So in traditional cash pooling, you have basically one account to which you've concentrate the funds from several other accounts. If you convert this into virtual account management, then you basically only have that one account, and then you have loads of virtual accounts. And all the other accounts are basically created as virtual, which enables all the services and all the benefits that you have as normal accounts to those accounts. However, them being virtual, all the liquidity is concentrated into this one account automatically or right from the start. So there is no need for like heavier pooling system like we have had in the traditional pooling models. And this gives you like a lot of benefits: receive on behalf, pay on behalf, managing your client money, so forth. So it's kind of next step on the liquidity management and cash pooling managed and enabled by PSD2 and open banking.
Now, Ilkka, let's come to you. How do you see the transaction banking business transforming?
There's a lot of happening in the market and in this area. So, but strategically speaking, clearly we see that banks are transforming to more sort of banking of ecosystems and sort of operating based on platforms. We see banks' sort of revenues and profits being under sort of pressure because of the digitalization, and most likely they will going to decline going forward. And then clearly we see sort of a lot of modernization of supply and demand impacting the competition, and there's more and more sort of players in the market, and basically this is leading to kind of basically situation from banks' point of view that they either adapt, outsource or exit from their businesses. And if banks want to stay competitive, it means that they need to simplify their processes and products. They need to really sort of modularize their offering and in order to enable kind of faster changes and think also end to end. And I think all this is basically leading to kind of a situation where banks need to start taking action instead of just talking.
And you mentioned that banks should focus on operating better as a platform. Can you tell me a bit more about this?
When banks are operating on a platform basis, it means that they need to sort of like converge all the payments into one platform, taking retail payments, corporate payments, card payments, open APIs in and out to enable actually sourcing in the services and then offering services. They basically need to move from transactions to value-added services, and the platforms are really enabling this. And then be ready for changing business models and also the offering as they go, because the market is so dynamic that platform basically enables fast changes.
And lastly, what will be the major developments within transaction banking this year?
For the next 2 years, well, PSD2 will come into force, the RTS will come into force. Banks are going to come out with their offering that they have been building now. They will find more collaborate partners, come out with the ecosystems, and there will be new corporate services emerging.
Yeah, and I think these drivers like real time, like open banking and many others, they are actually kind of further digitalizing the business. I think this is basically calling for improving the services, improving the products, simplifying the products. And I think what banks need to do is that they need to actually put these platforms in production the next year or two, and then start kind of onboarding customers and products. And you need to invest in technology in order to do that.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for watching.